I need a way. Just how would I talk to her? I wondered as I laid down on the bed with my arms wide open. Should I call her? I closed my eyes for a while to concentrate better, and soon I got a conclusion. Well, I'm calling her. I opened my eyes and sighed as I got up to get my phone. Oh, Ryan, I uttered as I unlocked my phone and let out a breath as I was about to call her. But before I could do that, my phone rang up, making me frown. Oh, Hyung? I squealed a bit as soon as I saw the caller's ID, and it was Jin Hyung, my elder brother. Hey Hyung. I greeted him as I picked his phone up. You jerk? Don't you think you're enjoying India's at too much that you have forgotten your own Hyung? He, in his typical tone, blurted out at me. Hyung, what I was saying? How can I forget you? I whined in a childlike voice while pulling up an innocent look. Really? You couldn't forget me? He asked, making me shook my head vigorously. Never, Hyung, never. I replied to him, making him let out an audible scoff. Well, you have agreed to marry a few days back, and I got to know this today. And you are saying you couldn't forget me. You didn't, right? He taunted me, making me squeeze my eyes. Hyung, actually, I was about to call you only, but I was explaining myself to him, but he cut me off midway. Yeah, as if I'm gonna believe you. He scoffed, making me sigh. Well, let's leave it and change the topic. Yeah, so what's her name? He asked, making me smile unknowingly. Ryan. I replied to him as I closed my eyes and saw her pretty face in front of me. Ryan, so how's she? He asked me further. Really pretty, Hyung. Jerk, I'm not asking about how does she look. I'm asking about her nature and all. He again blurted out at me, making me curse myself under breath. Oh, like that. She's really nice, Hyung. I replied to him, making him hum. Well, I'll talk to you later. I have to do something important. He spoke up in a hurry, making me hum. Well, bye, Hyung. I wished him and hung his phone up as he did the same. Oh, Taehyung, you really didn't need to do that. Your mother spoke up as she took over the bag that Taehyung brought. It's okay, Auntie. I just thought of returning them. He chuckled as he gave a slight shrug and sat down on the sofa. Make yourself comfortable, son. I'll be back. She spoke up in a warm tone and went inside. And as she left, he wandered his eyes around to spot a familiar figure. Where is she? He wondered while rubbing his chin with his thumb as he got a bit more anxious. And the reason of his continuously increasing anxiety was none other than you. He was doing everything to get a chance to talk to you, and hence he came up to your place while taking an excuse to return Anirudh's clothes. But now, when he couldn't get a sign of yours, he grew visibly restless. Here, have some water, dear. Your mother walked to the living area and extended him a glass of water. Oh, thanks, Auntie. He gently took the glass and flashed a subtle smile. Auntie, where is Ryan? He gulped down the water and finally asked your mother as she sat across him. Oh, Ryan, she's out with her friends. Actually, it's one of her friends' birthday. So, celebrations and all. She replied to him and scoffed a bit. Oh, is that so? He responded in a bit lower voice while looking down, making her hum. Well, I'll be going now, Auntie. He said as he got up from the sofa all of a sudden. This early? But you just came. She exclaimed and got up as well. Yeah, you were right, Auntie, but I really have to go. He spoke up as he bowed a bit. Well then, good day, dear. She wished him and smiled warmly as he did the same. He turned around to leave and sighed in defeat as he, once again, failed to meet you. Mom, I'm home. I shouted out as soon as I walked in the living room. Oh, you are here? She spoke as she too entered the area. Well, how was your day? She asked as she walked towards me. Yeah, it was great. Better than I expected actually, I replied and chuckled a bit. Really? Well, it's good then. She spoke and sat down on the couch. Yeah, I was really not in a mood to hang out, and especially when Nana was going to join us. I exclaimed inside as I brought Nana, one of my friends in our conversation, whom I didn't really like. Though she really had nothing to do with me, but I just didn't like her demeanor. I'll just leave her. She's not even that bad. She shrugged her shoulders and looked away, making me roll my eyes. Well, come on, help me in the kitchen. Your father must be on his way. She spoke and got up from the sofa to head towards the kitchen. I too sighed and got up, and as I was walking, my feet halted on their way as my gaze landed on a bag stuffed with some kind of clothes. Oh, what is it, Mom? I asked as I walked towards the bag and grabbed it. But before she could even answer me, I figured out that it was Anirudh Bhaiya's clothes that I offered to Taehyung. Huh? Who brought them, Mom? I changed my question and looked at her with raised brows. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you actually that Taehyung came here today. She replied, making me look at her swiftly. Taehyung came here? I uttered as I shifted my gaze to the bag in my hands. He didn't even tell me. I uttered in a muffled voice while staring at the clothes that just reminded me of him. How adorable he looked when he clad himself up in those baggy clothes. And that was what he was doing with me. I was seeing him in literally everything, and that I at first liked too. But as days passed by, an unwanted thought started to inhabit my mind. Am I the only one whose heart has forgotten to beat normally? Am I the only one whose days have become restless and nights sleepless? If yes, then why just me? And if no, then why don't he just come up and say whatever he thinks of me? I try to accept it no matter what it would be. I sighed and headed towards my room with head hung low, ignoring Mom's voice that was calling me from behind. Just why does to end it like this? You turned the television off and threw the remote away as you were watching the movie. These 6 sad endings, I just hate them. You spoke up furiously as the movie you were watching didn't go as you wished, and ultimately ended up on a woeful scenario which you just hated. It wasn't like you hated sad endings, but you couldn't bear it when your own heart was holding up a battle with your mind. You heaved a sigh heavily and got off the bed before walking towards the window. You wide opened the window and closed your eyes as you felt soft breezes touching your fuming face. You again opened your eyes when you found yourself a bit calmed down. YN? You out of nowhere heard someone calling you, and you knew it was Vedehi. You sighed and closed your eyes as you really weren't in a mood to entertain someone. YN? She again called you as she entered your room and walked towards the bed. Yeah, Bhabhi, you replied and turned around to face her. Would you have a look here? She asked without looking at you as she was busy setting something on your bed. You frowned and walked towards the bed to figure out what she was doing. What is it, Bhabhi? You asked, being confused as you saw her keeping some necklaces and bangles on your bed. Choose one. She looked at you and wiggled her brows. But why? You asked, being flustered, and sat on the bed beside her. Mom has bought these necklaces for your wedding functions. Choose whichever you like. She replied to you in a cheered up tone. And as you heard her, you sighed heavily while closing your eyes, which didn't go unnoticed by her. What's wrong, Ryan? You don't seem well. She squinted her eyes and tried to figure out your sorrow. Because I'm definitely not well, Bhabhi. You opened your eyes and rested your head over her shoulder. Really? But what happened to my little Ryan? She asked, being a bit worried as she caressed your hair. Bhabhi. You called her while playing with her fingers and glaring at the necklaces. She hummed in response. Bhabhi, why have you been doing this? You asked her in a somewhat unconscious tone, making her brows furrowed. We are forcing him, Bhabhi. You uttered, making a frown as she heard your voice cracking. Ryan, what are you talking about? She asked, being worried as she straightened up your figure. Bhabhi, Taehyung. And at last, you broke out in tears. Taehyung, what about him, Ryan? What on earth you are trying to say? She grabbed your shoulders gently and shook you as you were crying while looking down. Bhabhi, he doesn't want to marry me. You cried out more and sniffed harshly, making her sigh. Ryan, stop crying and tell me coherently. Tell me, when did he say that? She raised her voice and asked as you didn't seem to listening to her. He never said that, Bhabhi, but I know that he doesn't want to marry me. You spoke up between your sobs and threw your head on her lap, crying like a child. When he didn't even tell you, then how can you be so sure about that? She kind of scolded you, making you got up from her lap and look at her with your red, swollen eyes. I know that. He has changed. He doesn't talk to me anymore. He doesn't like to be with me anymore. You replied and wiped your tears away harshly. You are just talking nonsense, girl. He himself agreed to marry you. She smacked your head as you rested your head on your knees. He was forced. He never wanted to marry me. And if he doesn't want that, then I'm not going to force him. You uttered, being somewhat out of your senses, making Vedahi sigh. Bhabhi, I want to sleep. You uttered and laid down on the bed. Vedahi looked at you and sighed as she caressed your hair and cheeks before leaving you all alone in your room. What? What did you say, Bhabhi? I freaked out in surprise as I was having a voice call with Vedahi Bhabhi. Taehyung Ryan thinks that you don't want to marry her and you are forced to do so. She repeated herself while sighing, making me curse myself under breath. I knew this would happen. It's all my fault. I spoke out desperately and grabbed my hair. What do you mean? How did you know that this would happen? Wait, did you guys get into a fight? She asked several questions at a time. No, Bhabhi, it's not like that. It was just. I halted my words midway, as I didn't get proper words to describe the tremendous situation I got in. Bhabhi, can I call you later? I asked out of nowhere as I desperately wanted to get a chance to clear the misunderstanding. Yeah, well, take care. She replied to me and hung the call up after hearing a muffled hum from me. Oh no, what did I just do? She thinks that I'm forced. I exclaimed and shook my head desperately. I knew it was all my fault. She did nothing wrong if she thought that I wasn't happy with the wedding. I gave her a lot of reasons to think so. Enough. It's over now. I'm going to clear the things out tomorrow only. I sighed and grabbed my car keys to spend one more sleepless night roaming and wandering around.